Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good and I hope you're all staying safe. So I've had quite a few people message me recently and ask about how to get started with property. So I thought it was about time that I do a video that is for complete beginners. So you might have heard about property as an extra income stream, but you might just be like, girl, I don't know where to start, like what the hell? So this video will hopefully help you out if you are a complete beginner. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. So the first really important thing to do if you are a beginner is look at your goals, and you kind of need to look at what change do you want property to actually bring into your life. So for some people you might want a few extra grand every month. For some people you might want to quit your job and have property as your full-time income stream, which is amazing. And for other people you might want property to be as part of like your pension or your legacy, and you want it to be something that you can pass on to your kids further down the line. And for all of those different things, it all requires different strategies. So that's why it's so important to get clear on your goals and clear on what change you actually want property to bring into your life. Next, it's really important to assess your own current situation. So you need to have a look at how much money do I have to potentially put into property? Do I need to save a bit more or anything like that? And then also look at how much time do you want to put into property? Do you want to be hands-on with the management? Do you want to be hands-off? So these are all things that you need to kind of take into consideration. These key factors are really important because these help as well determine what strategy you need to do and the strategy that will be best for you. Because obviously if you want to do a strategy where you're not really hands-on, then that's going to be a very different strategy to someone who is going to be hands-on. So yeah, that's why it's really important to really assess your current situation and really determine what is important for you. And I think it's really important as well to look at like what type of lifestyle do you want to have and things like that, because this should all help you determine the strategy that is right for you. So once you're clear on your property goals, how much money you have to invest, how much time you want to invest and things like that, it's time to look at the strategies and find the strategy that is going to be best suited for you, because there isn't one strategy that is the best strategy. I do have this video on my channel which goes through all the different strategies and talks about the pros and the cons of each of them. So I'd say start with that video and see if there's a strategy that you think suits you, and then I'm telling you there will be so much information out there about that strategy. So say for example, if you want to get into investing in HMOs, then there is so much information out there in the world about HMOs. I honestly feel like nowadays no one can say that the information is not out there, because honestly the information is out there, like it really is. So what I'm going to do is pull together a list of resources, so books, podcasts, YouTube channels and everything like that, and I'll leave a link to it down in the description bar down below. It'll be on like my website so you can check it out, and I'll just leave a list of like my favorite resources. And it's also so important to just keep learning, like just literally keep listening to different books, listening to different podcasts. Like never think to yourself like, oh, I know everything about this. Like honestly, there's always more to learn and there's always ways to be better. Like you never know what like little golden nugget you might pick up if you just like keep listening and keep learning different things. Like at the minute I'm reading Cash in a Property Crash by Mark Homer and Rick Gannon, and I will say that Mark Homer, his podcast is sick. Like honestly, it is incredible. Like you can tell with Mark Homer that he really knows his stuff, he really knows a lot of information, and he's just been there, done that, got the t-shirt, like you can just tell. So yeah, I'm reading this at the moment, which is really good. But yeah, I'm still listening to Mike and Victoria's podcast, and yeah, I'm still like taking in as much information as I can as well. So just never ever stop learning. But yeah, make sure you check out the link in the description where I'll leave all of my favorite resources. It's also so important to network and connect with other people. And I feel like nowadays, even if you're a little bit antisocial, we have things like Instagram and Facebook. Like you'll be surprised, there is a big community of property developers and property investors on Instagram, which I think is so amazing. Like I didn't even know this until like last year, and honestly, when I started seeing all these other like property investors, I was just like, oh, hi. And it's so cool because like I feel like everyone's just really normal on Instagram and everyone's just really chilled out. And then there is things like Facebook groups as well, but personally I hate Facebook myself, and yeah, but there is Facebook groups out there, and there you can really find information off other people. Connecting with people is just so important because you can meet people who are one step ahead of you. So say if you want to buy your first buy to let, you can find someone on Instagram who has brought say like 2 buy-to-lets or something, and then they can give you advice, they can let you know what they did, what worked for them. So it's kind of like informal mentoring, if that makes sense, because you're not obviously paying for them, you're just kind of asking for their advice. So yeah, 100% it is so important to connect with people in the property world. And I feel like as well it works as like a source of inspiration, because if you see other people like buying things and doing amazing things, and you'll be like, okay, I want to get into it as well. And I feel like it will really motivate you and help you keep going. But I'd say don't be shy. There is plenty of people who are happy to share the knowledge that they have with you. And if they can see that you're really serious about getting into property and you've done a lot of research and you're just asking like simple questions, then obviously they're going to reply. So someone commented on my last video and asked me about mentoring. Now I'm assuming that they mean paid mentoring. And I honestly feel like in this day and age, all of the information is out there. You can connect with people on Instagram, Facebook, you can go to property networking events where people are going to ask your questions for you. And I guess those people will work as your informal mentors. They won't be like a formal mentor where you sit down and you've paid for them and things like that, but they will work as informal mentors. And I think it is a really important point to make here that just because you're paying for mentoring doesn't mean that you're receiving better information than you would if you got the information for free, if that makes sense. So it's not really a case of like, oh, you pay a mentor, so they're going to tell you like the creme de la creme of the information. Like that is just not how it works. So yeah, I would say just take in as much as the free information that you can, because the free information is honestly enough. Like honestly, if you take anything from this video, it is the fact that the paid information isn't better than the free information, and that is just a fact. So I also get asked quite often, what's the best property investment strategy and what's the best location to invest in property? Well, all of these things depend on your goals. Like it would be so wrong of me to sit here and say, you should be investing here, this is the best investment strategy. It'd be wrong for me to say that, because one, I don't know you and I don't know what your goals are, and two, there just isn't a best strategy and there isn't a best location. Like it really depends on your personal situation. It's kind of similar to like when I was 20, I moved to an area in Birmingham called Harborne, and the only reason I moved there was because everyone that I used to work with was like, oh, Harborne's the best area in Birmingham, Harborne's amazing, blah blah blah. When I moved to Harborne, I hated that place. That place was weird, like I just didn't like it. And it's kind of like, just because like loads of people are saying this is the best, this is the best, this is the best, doesn't mean you're gonna like it. You kind of need to stay in your own lane and just ignore what everyone else is doing. So I'd say definitely do not be a sheep. Do not be following the herd. Just because you see a lot of people doing a certain strategy or investing in a certain area does not mean it's going to be good for you. It might even be the case that the area that you live in is actually the best area for you to invest in, because you just know the area so well. You might know a lot of tradesmen and things like that, so it just makes sense for you to invest like close to home. But some of you might not want to live near your tenants and things like that. So honestly, it just all depends. It's also really important not to compare your property journey with other people's. Like, don't ever look at anybody else and think like, why have they got that already? Like, why are they doing that? Like, I'm so far behind. It's like, you honestly don't need to feel like that. Like, everybody's on their own journey, everybody's on their own lane, and just stay focused on your journey, stay focused on your goals, and just don't even concern yourself with what other people are doing. I think there's nothing wrong with using other people as like a source of inspiration, but don't ever think like, okay, they brought this and then they did this, so I need to do this, or am I doing this wrong? It's just too much. And I think it can be quite disheartening as well if you are comparing yourself. And I'm saying this because I know that I've done it myself, and I've like looked at other people and thought like, oh, why have they done that? And like, I feel so far behind. And then it's like, we haven't even got the same goals. So why am I concerned? Because our goals are completely different, clearly, because they're doing a completely different thing. You kind of got to learn to be like inspired by other people, but kind of like ignoring what they're doing and just focusing on yourself, because that is just the best way to be. And that definitely goes for life in general, not just property investing. This one is absolutely major, mega key, and it is to take action. If you don't take action, then everything is pointless. You can read all the books, listen to the podcasts, watch the YouTube channels, but if you don't take any form of action, what is the point? You're actually just wasting your time. It gets to a point where it's like, you can't be taking in all of this information just to do nothing, or like looking at other people and thinking, oh, like amazing that you've done that. It's like, do it yourself. Like, you can't do it. Obviously it's so important to like learn as much as you can, but it gets to a point where it's like, now you need to do something, like just book a viewing at least. Just make sure you keep taking action. The real learning will start when you start taking action and you start actually doing things. Then you will learn what property investing is really like. So yeah, taking action obviously is so key. And I'd say if you learn something, try and apply it as quickly as you can. Like, try and just like put it into action straight away. Otherwise, a few weeks will go by, a few months will go by, and it's like, oh yeah, that thing I read or that thing I listened to in a podcast, like, do you know what I mean? You've got to take action ASAP. And I do have to say as well that property is hard. If it was easy, then every man and his dog would just get into property, quit their jobs and live their best lives. But property is hard. But what it really comes down to is, can you keep going? Can you fail and get back up, or are you just gonna quit? That is really honestly what it comes down to. But yeah, property is hard, man. Like, I think the thing is that the concepts behind it are all simple, like the theory, the strategies, they're all simple to understand. There's nothing difficult about really understanding the strategies and things like that. But when you're in the real world situation, it's tough, man. Like, I feel like there is just so many things about property that can be hard. Like, even the fact you have to deal with people. Some people are actually crazy. Like, some people in this world are crazy. Or sometimes your finance will fall through last minute and then you've got to raise finance from somewhere else. Or sometimes deals will fall through, solicitors will drag their feet, estate agents don't turn up for viewings. It's all these little things that make property difficult. So yeah, I would definitely say property is not something to take lightly. It's a very serious thing, and you're gonna need to be looking after tenants and looking after people. So it's not something to just kind of think like, oh, like, let me just get into property and see how it goes. It's like, it's quite a serious thing. But I'd say if you are thinking about getting into property, there is always people that you can reach out to and someone that you can connect with and who can give you advice and things like that. And as well, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like, Lord knows that I've made a lot of mistakes over the 2 years. Like, yeah, I've just made so many mistakes, but it's honestly the best way to learn. So don't be afraid of like ever doing anything wrong or anything like that. Like, there is people out there who will want to help you. But I definitely say if you're passionate about property and you're serious about it, it can honestly be such a rewarding thing. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it and it has obviously changed my life. So we love that. So yeah, guys, that was my property investment advice for newbies. Make sure you check out the video that talks about the different property investment strategies that are out there. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I'll see you next time. Bye.